Hello everyone and welcome back to Nintendo Lounge. I'm your host Scott, and joining me as always is...
Jimmy, your friendly neighborhood Jim. How are we doing today?
I'm doing alright, thank you. How are you, good sir?
I'm good. So today we're going to talk about some interesting stuff about 2018, are we?
Indeed. So 2017 has come to a close. It's been a very good year for Nintendo. If you haven't watched it already, be sure to check out our 2017 review, which we uploaded the other day. It's about an hour long, but it's pretty interesting. We go over everything that happened for Nintendo in 2017 and gave our thoughts. But today is more of a prediction and hopes and dreams kind of deal. We're going to talk about what we hope Nintendo will give us in 2018. We're going to talk about some stuff that's been confirmed and announced already. And then we'll go into some of our own dreams, which will probably not become real.
I mean, most likely, I mean, for Nintendo fans, especially, obviously for us, I feel like a lot of the things we'll predict and want to happen probably will never happen, not even for a couple of years. But we've also got some rumors, some things that have kind of been, inklings every here and there. We've been hearing some things, so hopefully some of that stuff happens as well. But let's get into it, man.
Starting off in January, we have a Nintendo Direct that has been rumored through a EA email. Now, this email had sort of like a timeline of the advertising for the upcoming game called Fi. Have you heard much about this game, Jimmy?
Yeah, that was announced, I think, at E3 in 2016. I saw it looked really pretty. So yeah, if that's coming out to Switch, and hopefully that kind of announces or kind of puts out the fact that they're doing a Nintendo Direct, that'd be kind of cool, actually, yeah.
So with this Nintendo Direct, on the timeline, it said the different points of advertising for the game. And in January, they said they'd advertise it in a Nintendo Direct. So that's left everyone to believe that in January, there's going to be a Nintendo Direct. Most years, there's always a Nintendo Direct in either January or very early February.
Yeah, I feel like that would make sense. I feel like they'd need to start out with something strong to kind of get the year kind of rolling, because I think we don't really know much about what's happening next year. There's a couple of things we've heard, a couple of things that might be coming out towards the end or maybe announced next year, so I think at the very least they need to have something at the beginning of the year to kind of get us rolling into what's going to happen, so... That kind of makes sense to me. I feel like that's probably going to happen.
Yeah, and with early Nintendo Directs in the start of the year, they're always quite big ones.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to what they have in store for us. And I wonder how they're going to structure it. I feel like they're going to do more of their most recent sort of Nintendo Directs, where it's sort of like very fast to the point, get stuff out there.
That's what I love as well, because it's like, hey, we can skim over some of the stuff that maybe people won't care about as much, but we can at least bring them up, quickly go through some bullet points, as opposed to having big, huge presentations for games and wasting 5 minutes of people's time on games people might not be interested in. Every game gets an equal share of the amount of time, like 30 seconds in each game, quick bullet points, like boom, 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 get them all out of the way. Maybe some big games in between each of the sections. That's the structure that I really love. And it's always more effective than like a lot of the other conferences that come out and a lot of the other announcements, because other companies seem to go for this like long drawn out conference on a stage where they kind of talk about it for a long time. But Nintendo really nailed the quick, hitting the points, talking about it, and moving on. Like, it's really well structured. So hopefully they do that. I don't want to see a long drawn out thing.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the Nintendo 3DS, because after Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, we don't really know anything else that's coming out for the 3DS that's big by Nintendo.
Especially with Pokemon as well. I think the next Pokemon is definitely on the Switch. So, I mean, they've announced it technically, but we don't know if there's going to be another one on the 3DS or if they completely moved. I'm not too sure. But yeah, no, it's going to be weird to see the 3DS without Pokemon and without these certain games that are kind of moving over to the Switch.
Yeah, and moving on to February, where we have two games that are confirmed to be coming out then. We have a Bayonetta 1 and 2 coming out. I'm so excited for these games. I've already played Bayonetta 1 twice. I've got it on Wii U, and I've also got it on PC. I've played about halfway through on the PC and played it all the way through on the Wii U. And I've played through Bayonetta 2 only once on the Wii U, but Bayonetta 2 is an amazing game. If you have never played the Bayonetta series and you're like, I don't really want to play through 1 and 2, you can just play Bayonetta 2.
Yeah, I haven't played them before, so I'm thinking if they're coming to the Switch, I might give them a go. So maybe you pop around February, or we go see each other. Maybe do a bit of a stream. Maybe see how it goes. See how I like it. Maybe that might be my big deciding point whether I want to play it or see the whole way through it. Yeah, no, definitely. No, I'm excited for those.
And also the way they, without spoiling it, the way they do the plot with Bayonetta 1 and 2, you don't really need to play the first one to understand the second one.
Yeah, that's usually how they do it as well with these kind of like games that are kind of obscure. Usually with the sequels, they don't quite connect up like 100%. So yeah, no, I'm excited. I want to give it a go. Yeah.
And I'm also looking forward to staying on Bayonetta for a second. Them giving Bayonetta 2 a second shot, because it came out on Wii U. It was somewhat successful for a Wii U game, but it didn't reach the sales of the original Bayonetta. Right. And of course, you had a lot of angry fanboys who were upset at the fact that Bayonetta 2 was coming to a Nintendo console, because this is Bayonetta. This isn't supposed to be some kiddie console, as everyone used to like to say.
Yeah, well now the Switch is for big boys, so get wrecked. Okay.
Exactly.
So what are we moving on to next?
So moving on to next is Payday 2, which will be coming out on February 23rd. That's a game I played a bit on PC. I quite enjoyed it. I may pick it up on the Nintendo Switch if I have people to play it with. Yeah, have you ever played Payday 2 before, Jimmy?
I don't know what the game's like. Whenever I see it, I kind of think a little bit more of like a GTA kind of style thing. That's what I kind of picture when I see it. What kind of game is it? Is it like bank heists, is it? Or
yeah, it's like a first-person shooter bank heist kind of game where you work together in a team. So, for example, one person will be going and like drilling into the vault, and they need to watch the vault, as sometimes it will break down and you need to repair it and stuff like that. Or you have other people who are watching the store, making sure the police don't come in. Like, you can either take the game very stealthily and try to just take everyone down quietly without drawing the police's attention, or you can just go in guns blazing. Depends on how you want to do it, and the game can be very difficult because the police AI is very good. So you got to work together as a team to get through this.
Alright, well, maybe I might give it a go. Since it's coming to Switch, I'm more open to playing games that I wouldn't usually get on other consoles on the Switch. So this is the kind of game that I might give a go, give it a shot. And as well as the fact you can play as Ethan, apparently, that might be kind of cool. So I don't know. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on, we've got some games that we don't have release dates for, but they are coming out. They've already been confirmed. They've been announced, trailers, stuff like that. So starting off with the new Yoshi game.
Yeah.
Now, I played Yoshi's Woolly World on Nintendo Wii U. That was a pretty fun game. It was very easy. I finished it in like a day. This game, however, when they first showed off in a trailer for it, I was sort of like, it doesn't really do anything for me there. But then they showed off in Nintendo Treehouse, and the game looked very, very cool through that. So basically, the gimmick of this game is it's a 2D side-scroller.
Yep.
But you can change the perspective of the 2D. So you can go through the stage looking at it one way.
Okay.
But then you can flip the stage and look at it through the other way.
So it's kind of like, from what I've seen as well, it's kind of like a Fez kind of thing, but not as extreme as that. It's kind of a bit more simplistic. Like, it's kind of like two sides. That's kind of cool, because it's like one side might have a certain thing, then you might have to complete a puzzle, you have to go around the other side, do something on the other side to affect the other side. So I think that's actually kind of cool. I think that, yeah.
And you can also, with Yoshi, of course, one of his signature things is throwing his eggs.
Yep.
And you can actually, instead of just throwing it on a 2D plane, you can also do it in the foreground or the background. So depending on which way you're looking, you might be able to see something in the background which you might not have been able to see on the other side. And get that collectible and stuff like that.
Alright.
So it's more than just a basic 2D platformer. So I'm looking forward to seeing what else they do with this game.
No, yeah, because Yoshi games, they're always good as like co-op games, because like I know people that just play Yoshi games together, and that's kind of like a thing they do together just to have fun. So yeah, no, that's definitely something I'm excited for, just to play with a friend or something like that, someone that's close to me, just play some Yoshi, play some Kirby, which is what we're going to talk about next, right? Unless you got something else to say about Yoshi.
Kirby Star Allies is coming out next year as well.
Yes.
A game which looks like a kind of a basic Kirby game. But Kirby games are always good, and the art style for this game looks very, very pretty.
Yeah, it does. It looks like a kind of like a simplified, like rather than the kind of the woolly or yarny aesthetic that they've been going for, they've gone for very much just a regular kind of Kirby now. But the mechanic that they've announced for it, that you actually, instead of sucking up enemies to actually become, like, to gain their powers, don't you, like, suck them up, or you actually obtain, like, allies, obviously, star allies, so you kind of obtain them to become your friends. Is that correct? Am I wrong?
No, you're pretty much correct there.
Okay, cool.
And I've never really played a Yoshi game before, so this will probably be my first ever, when I say Yoshi, I meant Kirby game.
Yeah, Kirby, yeah.
I've played the Kirby game for the Wii U. I forgot what it was called, but you're sort of like a bit of like a clay blob, and you've got to draw on the tablet where you want to go.
Oh, it was the Rainbow Deluxe something? Triple Rainbow Triple Deluxe thing? Triple smoothie? I don't know what it's called.
I don't know. We'll put it up on the screen now. As you
Yeah.
can tell, we're not the biggest Kirby fans, but I'm looking forward to giving it a shot on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, here's a game which, from the start, I thought this game looked absolutely beautiful, and
Okay.
it interested me straight away. They've released a demo for it, so if you haven't given it a shot, be sure to check it out on the eShop, and that is Project Octopath Traveler, a game with a very stupid name, a game which I feel like they're going to change the name of it eventually.
They definitely stated that it was a working title, and that's kind of the whole thing. But the whole Octopath Traveler actually makes sense, because the whole thing with the game is that there's 8 characters, meaning Octo, and basically you can choose any of these characters and they go on a separate, adventure, so a different path. So Octopath kind of makes sense. So Octopath might be in the title, but maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, Project Octopath Traveler. I've played a little bit of it. I feel like it's not that much of my game, but the visuals are really good. I don't know. What do you think of it?
Yeah, the visuals are amazing. I love the whole 3D, 2D sort of thing they're going for there. I'm looking forward to what the plot's going to be. I've only played a little bit of it. I'm kind of waiting for the actual game to come out, because I don't really want to play through the whole demo and then have to play through that whole bit all over again when the game comes out.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be a bit of a drag to have to replay all of that again.
Yeah, I mean, considering that there's 8 characters that you choose from anyway, there's going to be lots of different playstyles anyway, so even if you play as a certain character in the demo, you could just select another character when the game comes out. So you could probably play through the demo if you wanted to, and then obviously down the track you have to play that again, but maybe you could play as 4 other characters before you go to one of those characters. Like, you could pretty much go down any path you wanted to, so that sounds kind of interesting, and I hope that maybe that they kind of intertwine the paths a little bit, like towards the end they kind of connect the dots a little bit and you kind of see how the stories like connect up together. So that'd be kind of interesting if they actually kind of gave you that. So I don't know, it looks pretty. Don't know if it's my kind of game, but we'll see.
Indeed. And also coming out later next year is a title which we haven't got the name for, we haven't got a trailer for, but we do have confirmation that it will be coming out, and that is a core Fire Emblem title.
Yes.
Now, Fire Emblem is also, along with Kirby, is a game I've never really played before.
Neither.
The only Fire Emblem type game I've played is the Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem crossover, which came out on the Wii U, which is called Tokyo Mirage.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that, even though there was barely any Fire Emblem in it, apart from like a few Fire Emblem characters. I enjoyed that game, and I love playing as Fire Emblem characters on Super Smash Bros.
So that's something.
That's also something.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to it, giving it a chance. I might play a 3DS Fire Emblem title before I actually go and pick this one up. We'll have to wait and see. Jimmy, have you played much Fire Emblem before?
Never played a Fire Emblem. I don't even know what kind of games they are. I feel like they're probably kind of strategic RPGs from what I'm going to gather. Yeah. Probably not for me, honestly. I mean, I might give it a go. Obviously I don't want to buy it and give it if they release a demo, might give it a go there. Otherwise, might play it on your console if you get it. Give it a bit of a go. But other than that, I don't really have much interest in it. But hey, it's popular, so good for the people that like it.
And now moving on, these are 2 games which have been announced, but we're unsure if they will be coming out in 2018.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to think they will.
I don't know, how do you feel? Do you feel they're going to come out?
I feel like they either will come out right at the end of next year, or they'll be coming out in 2019. And the first one we'll be talking about is Pokemon.
Okay.
So, Jimmy, what is your experience with Pokemon, and how are you looking forward to Pokemon coming to a home console?
Okay, well, Pokemon for me, I've played Pokemon for a lot of my life. I, for a long time, didn't really own Pokemon games. I played them with my friends. Whenever I visit my friends, I'd play their copies of Pokemon, play through them, and, pick up my saves every time I go visit them. Or, well, not saves necessarily. It's obviously they only save one cartridge, but they'd obviously played it before. They let me play it, so every time I go visit them, I'd sit there and play it while they play another Pokemon game, one of the later ones. And then it came out on the DS, which I got the DS very soon after it actually released. My mum got me one. And then I got Pokemon Diamond, which was kind of like the first one I owned. I don't know if that's actually true. I think I probably owned one on the Game Boy Color prior to that, I feel like, but I can't remember. But the one I have the biggest memory of actually owning myself and completely going through the entire game in a couple of days is Pokemon Diamond, and ever since then I have been kind of a Pokemon fan. I've very much enjoyed them. Kind of dwindled off at the end of Black and White. I really enjoyed those ones. It's just that I feel like when the second sequels came out, I was a bit about them. And then the new ones came out, played X. No, I played Y. Same game anyway, doesn't matter. Then I played the Hoenn remakes, and then I jumped on board to Sun and Moon. And then they announced Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and I wasn't too keen for those ones, so I was like, I'm gonna just get rid of my 3DS, don't really care for these games, and I kind of was getting sick and tired of the whole Pokemon formula. I was like, they're not changing it up, they're not giving it some kind of new flavor to it, it's been the same for 20 years. I mean, they add some tweaks here and there, add some elements to it to make it a little bit more, I don't know, they just kind of add tweaks to it, and it's kind of gotten a bit bland to me, so I kind of wasn't very interested in playing those ones, so I got rid of my 3DS, got rid of all my games for that, moved to the Switch. So for this one, I'm kind of hoping that it kind of introduces something interesting and new to the formula, which is why I kind of hope that it doesn't come out next year, and I hope maybe we get like an announcement of what kind of game it is. Maybe towards the end of the year, they have a direct, and they give it like a Pokemon Direct where they're like, hey, this is the game we're working on, here's some footage, coming out probably next year. So I'm hoping that it comes out 2019 just for the fact I want them to spend a lot of time working on it. Anyway, how do you feel? What's your history with Pokemon?
So when I was younger, I didn't really used to care that much for Pokemon, actually.
Gotcha.
Everyone else in my class really loved it. I was still like, I don't really see the appeal for it.
Right.
Then I got Nintendo DS.
Yep.
And then I got Pokemon Diamond. And I also fell in love with that game.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I liked the 4th gen ones. Obviously, like, people will talk about 4th gen being one of the weaker generations, but it's kind of the one that kind of drew me in and made me finish it in a couple of days. Like, it's one of the first games I ever played the entire game in a couple of days. That's what I loved about it. Anyway, what were you saying?
So I played through Pokemon Diamond, and then I didn't play another Pokemon game until Pokemon X and Y.
Gotcha.
So I kind of had a big break. I was kind of like, Pokemon Black and that I didn't really find all that great. But okay. Pokemon X and Y, I don't know, there's something about that made me want to get that game. I really enjoyed Pokemon X. It was fairly easy in comparison to Diamond.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And I've been meaning to get to playing Pokemon Sun and Moon. But now with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon already out, I should probably get the one.
I'd say, honestly, from my opinion, I'd say you may as well, if you haven't played through Sun and Moon, you may as well invest money onto Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I think they're the same price still, though. Like, I don't think Sun and Moon have gone down in price. So I think you may as well just get Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, because technically they are quote-unquote better games. They have more content. So I'd say play those ones as opposed to getting the original Sun and Moon.
And also to the fact that with Pokemon Sun and Moon, they also changed up the formula for Pokemon a little bit. Away with gyms. And now there's some other sort of method to the game. I haven't properly played it, so I can't really say.
Yeah.
But I've heard with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, they've refined it.
Yeah, because basically they have a system where there's island kahunas, there's island captains, trial captains. So you verse a couple of trial captains on the island, then after you go against the kahuna. And then you obviously move to the next island. It kind of is structured a little bit differently to how it is in the other games, but it's very much kind of a similar kind of thing. And if anything, it's kind of a little bit less interesting. Just because some of them are just kind of dumb puzzles. They're not really that difficult at all. Like there's one where it's like match the picture. That's literally a mini game you do. You match the picture, then once you win it, you fight a Pokemon, you take it out, and then you win. and it's very, very easy, not very imaginative, and I'm hoping that maybe in the next one they kind of give it something a little bit more, I don't know, just something a bit more fulfilling. That's kind of what I hope for. A game that's more fulfilling. I don't know if I want to talk about it because we might save it for like another video where we talk a bit more about Pokemon. But I hope there's something more about this game, this new Switch game, and I hope they spend a lot more time on it, working on it, because I feel like Pokemon has potential to be something a lot bigger than it is, and it just restricts itself all the time. So hopefully it's good. I don't know.
Yeah, with the Nintendo Switch version of Pokemon, I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to do, because it's coming to a home console, which is also portable. So I feel like Nintendo Switch brings out the imagination of a lot of developers.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't stick to what they've always done. If they do, I'm going to be very disappointed. And also, another thing, I hope they don't just release 2 games, because they always go, Pokemon Sun and Moon, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, Pokemon Gold and Silver. Just one game. Just do one. You don't need to do the 2 thing anymore. Just do one game. It's a console game. That's cheating people out of money, because obsessed Pokemon fans get both copies, and it's stupid. They're the same game. Just do one. Please. I beg you. It's stupid. Anyway, should we move on?
Let's move on before you
Yes.
get
Before
even more angry.
Yeah, my head explodes. Yes.
So moving on is Metroid Prime 4. Now this is a game that has been rumoured for every single E3 that comes up.
Yep. No, absolutely. Yeah, this one is like one of the ones that's just like, where is Metroid Prime 4? Where is Metroid Prime 4? It's one of those games that no one would ever expect it to come out. And they're just like, yep, here's a logo, it's coming out. And everyone went crazy. Do you have a history with the Metroid games at all, or Metroid Prime itself?
So I own the Metroid Prime trilogy on Nintendo Wii, which is a sort of a collection of Metroid Prime 1, Metroid Prime 2, and Metroid Prime 3. I've yet to play them fully, but I've put quite a few hours into each one, and they're so fun. They're so enjoyable. I'm going to play through them all before Metroid Prime 4 comes out.
Okay.
Just so I can say I've played every single one. They're really, really fun. If you've never played them before, I recommend you do.
Yeah, I'll give them a
What
go
about you,
at some
Jimmy?
point.
Have you played Metroid Prime games at all?
I've not played the Metroid Prime ones. I think I've because my friend had a GameCube, and I played a lot of my GameCube games and experiences were on his console. Metroid Prime was one of them that I think I dabbled in a little bit, but it wasn't something that I kind of gravitated towards, just because I don't know. It wasn't for me as a kid. But now I can see the appeal. I can see the gameplay. I've looked at a lot of the gameplay. It looks very appealing. I've played more of the classic Metroid games, like Super Metroid and those sort of ones. So Metroid Prime is just very different to what I would expect from a Metroid game, and I'm hoping that if I do dabble in the other ones a bit more and I actually do play through them, that I really enjoy them, and hopefully this one is just as good as well. That's all I have to say. Hopefully it's good. I can only hope for the best.
So with Metroid Prime games, they're not really sort of like a run and gun sort of shooter. There are shooting elements into it, but there are also sort of like puzzle elements, trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Sort of stuff.
Okay. It's very much because it's very much like the Metroid side-scrolling ones, because there's a whole genre of games based on Metroid.
Being Metroidvania.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's a lot of just kind of getting lost, a kind of more of an open side-scroller that doesn't rely on platforming so much, but kind of backtracking and finding areas, finding puzzles and completing puzzles and getting to new rooms and unlocking new rooms and finding power-ups to go to new areas that you couldn't reach before. It's kind of that style, a lot of backtracking, so I don't know if Metroid Prime is like that, but in the third dimension. I don't know about that. Is it kind of like that, or...?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, okay, so it's basically, it's just 3D Metroid. That's it. Okay.
Putting it very simply, kind of, yeah. But with more elements, of course.
I'm into it. Yeah, sure.
Now, those are sort of all the big games that are coming out so far, announced for 2018. But now we're going to go sort of into our hopes and dreams as to what we want to come out for 2018.
Our hopes and dreams. Okay. All right.
Starting off for me is, of course, the game that everyone's wanted since the Switch's reveal, and that is Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Switch.
Okay, that was a very obvious one. I was going to say, is he going to say it? Yeah. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Like, do you think they should do a port? Or do you think they should do an actual new one? That's my question.
Well, if they would have done a port, I feel like that would have kind of already been announced by now. Probably would have come out sort of like January, February time of this year.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to be a port, but with added features to it.
That
So
makes
with
sense to me, yeah.
Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, there's a lot of content in that game that is sort of focused for the Wii U.
Yep.
So there's a lot of stages that are just sort of focused on Wii U games. So sort of like
Okay.
New Super Mario Bros. U. You've got a Miiverse stage. And you've got quite a few other Wii U specific stuff in there. I feel
Okay.
like they might move those Wii U bits to the side and try to focus more on Switch titles that are coming out. Because Super Smash Bros. Not only is it an amazing fighting game, but it's also an amazing advertising product for Nintendo's other franchises.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it'd be a bit weird for them just to release a Wii U port without it advertising some of the Switch games that are out or coming out.
Yeah, no, good point. Because my take on it is that I thought that if they were going to do a port, they'd obviously base the engine off of what's in the Wii U version. Get rid of some of the maps and some of the features that are exclusive to the Wii U. Bring some of the 3DS stages that were only in the 3DS, maybe like Smash Run as well, bring that in. And then obviously add some features like, get some new characters like Splatoon, get a Splatoon map. I don't know, do something along with the lines with Mario Odyssey. Add a map that's like a Mario Odyssey style one, like Metro, like Metro Kingdom. And get like maybe like a skin for Link that's like the Breath of the Wild style Link, something like that as well. Maybe as well they could work with Ubisoft, make Rabbids playable characters. Like you could do that, like advertise those Switch games that have come out.
Oh no.
Would actually be a really good idea. So I don't know, that's a good idea. I like that. Yeah.
Well, you say that with Rabbids being in a Smash Bros. Game. So several years ago on the Nintendo Wii, they released a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Smash Bros. Clone.
Oh my god.
And for some reason, the Rabbids were unlockable characters in that game.
Of course they were. They're just in everything, aren't they? They're just like, you know what? We're gonna put Rabbids in every single IP. Like, you know what? I think that Rabbids are gonna be in Star Wars Episode 9. Like, honestly, I'm not gonna be surprised.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. They could do a spin-off with the Porgs.
Absolutely, yeah. Porgs plus Rabbids, Kingdom Battle. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
So Jimmy, what are you hoping for 2018?
What am I hoping for? Oh my god. Well, I'm kind of hoping for a bit more, in terms of third-party stuff. Get some games that are great on other consoles that would be able to run on it. So I'm thinking like I'm gonna do my classic Jim. Like if anyone knows me, I love me BioShock. So I think BioShock should actually maybe make it makes sense to me. I feel like a BioShock collection on Switch would be kind of cool. But just going through a little bit, like I'm just gonna make some points here. A Mario Party game. I think Mario Party is a perfect game for Switch. I think getting people to gather around, getting people to gather around your Switch, playing some Mario Party is a great idea. That's kind of some ideas I have there. But if you want to touch on some things as well, keep going.
So with Mario Party, I feel like the past few Mario Party titles have been very, very mediocre at best.
Yeah, no, oh, absolutely. Mario Party 10 is absolutely garbage.
So I'm hoping with the new one,
just bring it back.
They make it good.
Or just bring it back to basics. Just make it what it was. Like, it was perfect how it was. You can add some elements to it, obviously, but I think that the Mario Party formula works. And it doesn't need to add this, like, oh, you're all teaming up and Bowser's the bad guy. Like, no, the whole point was the fact that you're against each other. It was a board game. That's basically the whole appeal of it. So I feel like if they do a Mario Party, and I think it makes sense, with a lot of the Switch games they're doing, they're kind of going back to basics with them. They're like, okay, let's bring Mario back to 64 days. Let's do that. With Breath of the Wild, they're like, hey, let's bring it back to the original Legend of Zelda. Let's give it a bit more of an open world feel. I feel like they're smart about it. They don't want to add gimmicks. They want to go be like, let's find what people love about Mario Party, all of the games, and kind of culminate them together to create the perfect Mario Party game that people will love. I feel like that's what they're doing for Switch. I feel like because they care a lot about the Switch games, everything about it, they want to make sure that the games that are on Switch represent Nintendo really well. So if they were to make a Mario Party game, I think it's going to be very much like the classic Mario Party games. Like, that just makes sense to me. And then other things as well, Virtual Console. I think that's something we have to kind of talk about as well. You know, what kind of, you know, games would be on the Virtual Console? What sort of, you know, consoles would you be able to play? Like N64, would you be able to play GameCube games? Like, what would be on there? You know, what would be the price ranges? What kind of games would you want to see on there, sort of thing? So, I don't know. What do you feel about Virtual Consoles?
So they've already kind of announced that Virtual Console, in a way, will be coming to the Nintendo Switch Online service. They'll be launching next year.
Okay.
Which is sort of a bit strange to feel that soon we're going to have to be paying for a Nintendo Online service.
Okay. No, fair enough. I mean, it makes sense because, I mean, there's a reason they do it. Obviously, it's to fund their servers, to make sure it's all running. I feel like, yeah, it makes sense. And I feel like they probably won't charge that much. I see Nintendo charging maybe tops $40. Like, I don't think they'll charge that much anyway. I have a feeling that they're not going to go the full $90 that PlayStation do. So I think it should be okay. I think it makes sense that they do it. I feel like it's a necessity at this point. With the fact that they want to probably get into some mainstream online gaming, you kind of have to do that. So yeah, honestly, it makes sense. I feel like it makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, and with the online service, they said they're going to do sort of like a Netflix type thing, where every month there'll be a NES game that you can play for free, well, with your online service, and they said they're going to put online elements into it as well. So I'm looking forward to what they do with that. So, for example, we might have Super Mario Kart with online.
All right. Yeah, that could be interesting. I'm kind of keen to see what they do with that. Hopefully there's that element, but also keeping the simplicity of just having a store available where there's games from old consoles. You can just pick and choose and be like, I want to get this one, pay for this one. Now I can just play it, as opposed to being forced into this monthly subscription or whatever it may be. I want to just be able to be like, hey, I just want to buy Super Metroid and play that on my Switch. Yeah. And I can just easily do that instead of having to pay so much a year or so much a month.
Because there's already been rumours that a GameCube Virtual Console will be coming as well.
Yeah,
and I'm really hoping for that, but I'm not holding out to it too much.
Yeah, I feel like GameCube games are hard to emulate. I feel like it might be a bit difficult to be able to do that, but here's hoping. They might have the power to do it, so I don't know. Is there anything else you were thinking about as well?
So one of the big games that have come out recently is Final Fantasy 15. And
oh yes, yeah. Okay.
Recently, the developer, or the director for the game, stated that he wants to work on something related to Final Fantasy 15 on the Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
And quite recently as well, they've released a mobile port of Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, with the different art style, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people are wondering if Final Fantasy comes to the Switch, which I think it will in 2018, will it be a downgraded port of the Xbox One and PS4 versions, or will it be an upgraded port of the mobile version?
What are you hoping for?
I'm honestly hoping for an upgraded port of the mobile version.
Same.
Because if it's a downgraded port of the PS4 and Xbox One version, I feel like it will look terrible. It will probably run terrible.
You're like, you may as well play the other versions. Which I think that the mobile port actually has a kind of cute art style. It reminds me of like Final Fantasy IX, that kind of aesthetic as well. So honestly, I would love to see that. I think I'd probably play it more than the actual the full version on the PS4. I'd probably prefer to actually play this one because obviously it's a handheld. I can play it handheld. And honestly, I like the cute style. I kind of prefer it. I don't know. I just like the realistic anime boys. I don't know. They're kind of cool, but I don't know. I like me some cute characters. So I feel like, I definitely would love to see an upgraded version of that. That seems like the perfect thing for the Switch. I'd love to see that. But I don't know. I think it's going to be kind of divisive. I think some people will hate it. Some people will love it. So I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
And one of the final games that I have for 2018 is Pikmin 4.
Okay,
now, this is a game that they've announced that they've pretty much finished development of it.
Right.
And this was about 2 years ago now.
Okay, that's weird.
So I feel like they're just holding back to the right moment to release it, and I feel like 2018 is going to be that moment.
Yeah, no. Since obviously Nintendo are being really successful right now, I feel like to release a Pikmin game, especially I think maybe they are definitely done. Maybe they were just so proud of it that they were like, we can't release it on the Wii U. No one's ever going to be able to play it. We want to hold it back until your next console's out. So that makes sense to me in a way. If they want this one to succeed, if they're so proud of it and they think they've done something amazing, that they want to hold it back to put it on the Switch. Feel like you're probably right on that. I feel like you're right on the money with that one. So yeah, I agree on that one. Never played a Pikmin. They give it a go though.
Yeah, so I've got Pikmin 1, I played a bit of that, and I played through quite a bit of Pikmin 3 as well.
Okay.
I've yet to finish either of those games, but I'm going to hopefully go back, finish those, just like with the Metroid Prime 4, play through all the 3 games before the 4th one comes out.
Alright, cool.
And speaking of 4th games in this series, I just remembered I've got one last game to talk about.
Okay.
And this is probably my most anticipated game for 2018.
Right.
And this game is a third-party game made by Sega, one of my favorite video game companies, and that is Valkyria Chronicles 4. So with this game, Valkyria Chronicles 1 came out in about 2008, I believe. And then several years later, they ported it to the PC and PS4. And I played it on PC, and I absolutely loved the game. I couldn't put it down. It was just so amazing. And then they released Valkyria Chronicles 2 and 3 for PSP, which is very silly of them. With the third one only being exclusive to Japan.
Brilliant.
I know, right? So Valkyria Chronicles 4 is coming out for PC, or rumoured to come out for PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. And it's a game that I feel like will run really well and benefit the Nintendo Switch.
Absolutely. Alright, cool.
So would you ever try out Valkyria Chronicles 4 at all?
I've seen someone play it. I was watching someone play it a couple of years back. Looked interesting. Don't know if it'd be my thing, but I don't know. Who knows? Might give it a go. Like obviously, as I say with a lot of things, I might just give it a go. See if I like it. But also, I'll just say I've got a couple of different predictions. I might just kind of skim through them. One of them, some of them are actually not even games. So I got UI changes. I feel like the UI on the Switch itself is actually kind of a bit boring, and I feel like they should probably add elements where you can make backgrounds. There's some different dynamics to how the UI looks. And transitioning from that, I feel like they should have something kind of more of a social system, kind of like the Miiverse, maybe a little bit different. Kind of incorporate it so, as well as being something that you can see visually on your console from your main menu. See maybe some Mii's walking around like at the bottom of the screen or something like that, something pretty simple. But incorporate that to other social media sites like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that as well. I feel like that's something that they really need to do, and obviously fix up the friends list, fix up the friend codes. Don't want friend codes anymore. I just want to be able to search up a friend, find some friends, and add them. Like I want it to be easy. And then just going through some indie games that I might like to see. I talked about Hyper Light Drifter in another video as well. I think I just mentioned it to you probably. You told me that it probably won't be able to be ported because of the fact that it's made on Game Maker, as well as Undertale. I think they're both made on the same engine. But there's other games as well. Limbo, Inside, Hat in Time. Those are games that have come out recently. Limbo a couple of years ago. That I think could be perfect. Just little indie games that could come out. Obviously, Yooka-Laylee's come out, and I think that's the successor to that as a 3D platformer indie game is Hat in Time. Haven't given it a chance yet, haven't played it yet, but I feel like if it comes to the Switch, definitely I gotta give it a go. Just scrolling through some other ones, Psychonauts 2 was actually announced as well, and I think that's I think it's available on all consoles. Anyway, I feel like that's the kind of game that I would like to see possibly also come for Switch. I feel like it'd be perfect on there. Popping through some other ones, Mario Maker, more co-op games, possibly Super Mario Odyssey DLC, and a Donkey Kong game. That's kind of things I've noticed. Anyway, that's it.
I very much agree with your Mario Maker one there. I feel like Mario Maker would be amazing for the Switch. So I'm looking forward to looking back at this video at the end of 2018 and see if we were right, if we were completely wrong, if Nintendo is the most successful company in the world, or if they've died. We'll have to wait and see.
That'd be either way. You know what? I feel like I'd be okay with either option. I mean, our whole channel would be dead as well. I mean, Nintendo Lounge, we'd have to kind of change it up. Be like, we used to be Nintendo Lounge, but now we're everything Lounge. We're just other things Lounge now. I don't know. Anyway.
Indeed.
To wrap it up.
Thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you very much for listening. And we shall see you all in our next discussion. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.
Goodbye.